So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on Keeping It Real with Credit live session. Guys, welcome back. Welcome back. I know we're a little late here in the session, but I've been focusing on not only taking some evaluations from you guys, but also, looking into this renovation here at Keeping It Real with Credit Studios down here in the Miami Design District. Hopefully this is a great time for you guys and it's not too late. Because at least this way, most of you guys should be back at home from work or whatnot. But other than that, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, because on this channel, we talk anything and everything about credit, personal finance, tips and tricks, and little things that you could go ahead and put in your toolbox, as you're going on to your financial journey. As some of you may or may not know, I'm your host, Ray, from Keeping It Real with Credit. And obviously, we're going to go ahead and kick this off. This live session that we try to do every once a week is dedicated to have some one-on-one personal time with you guys and answer some of these questions out here. In the meantime, throughout the live session, if you guys are interested in speaking to me or my team, are interested in finding out more about what your credit, what opportunities you have in your credit, feel free to click in the link in the description below, because in there, you're going to be able to schedule an appointment directly with me. As soon as I see that appointment, I'll go ahead and shoot you off a text with the link to my calendar to get you all scheduled in for a 20-minute conversation with me. We'll conduct an evaluation. We'll go ahead and dissect your credit report, let you know what's possible, what's not possible, and give you some realistic expectations, as to what you can actually, when you can actually expect results, costs, if you want to go ahead and hire our team for you on your behalf. And we'll be more than happy to help you out, guys. All right. So in the meantime, while we're going into this question, guys, I wanted to go ahead and follow up with you guys when it comes to the last video I made, when it comes to collections. And these are things that we want to be fully aware of, because collections really affect our credit from a lot of ways, and it could drop your score pretty significantly. And one of the things that I think that, just taking it back and why I started this channel in the first place, given the situation that happened to me, we have to be very, very aware as to what our consumers' rights are, because a lot of these collection agencies are banking on the idea that we don't know these rights, these rules or regulations, They're banking on the idea that we don't know how to respond, or that the fact that we'll panic at the sight of some summons, or at the sight of a letter saying that you have 30 days to respond. If not, it'll be considered validated. And so in those cases, we need to do our due diligence, and be a little bit more better educated, better equipped, better have some sort of awareness when it comes to stepping into those places like that. So just to touch on some points from the last video real quick, as I see you guys are posting on your video or your questions on the video, want to make sure that once we have a collection on the credit report, we have to be very clear, We're not trying to shy away from that. We shouldn't ignore it. But if anything, we want to go ahead and confirm and prove some sort of validation. Actually, talking to one of my consumer attorney friends of mine is one of the ways that they really catch them by surprise is by asking the collection agency, prove to me that you own the debt. Did you buy the debt? Because when they buy the debt, they get some sort of transfer, kind of like a title, or a bill of sale. And there's terms and conditions in that bill of sale, that in that term, the agreement between the bill of sale and the original creditor or the furnisher, there's a clause in there that you're buying it as is, kind of like when you buy a car, when you buy things as is. And sometimes collection agencies don't want to show you that, because the as is kind of an indication that they're buying a debt, and they may not even have the full documentation with them. You see, something to keep in mind, And that's something that debt collection companies don't want to show you, because in a court proceeding, and again, I'm not an attorney, so please verify this information with your local consumer attorney, but this is information that I got from an attorney friend of mine. And so you want to go ahead and confirm and first of all, see if they actually own the debt, if they actually bought the debt, and what are the terms and conditions between the contract between the agency and the original creditor. And if it has some sort of language on there, then that's not a justification for it. And I know sometimes we'll go ahead and we'll ask for validation on an account, right? We'll ask for validation in an account, and the collection agencies, they assume that they have enough information by just sending you a billing statement, right? Or a bank statement or all the charges you've ever done. Well, based on an opinion letter from the Federal Trade Commission, that right there is not enough. That's not enough to go ahead and do that. And so these are things that we want to be aware and be fully informed about. And I'll make a video on that once I sit down with an attorney friend of mine and get some more information, because I think it's pretty interesting when you look at a case of how a consumer attorney defends against a collection agency. The things that they ask for is key to understanding the process and how ultimately that affects us. And so we need to be aware of that to better handle our situation a little bit better. All right, so let's kick it off with these questions. I know Veterans Days is Monday, but I'm gonna tell you now. Awesome, guys. If you're a veteran, just like me, salute you. Thank you, guys. You guys are brothers and sisters. And Marine Corps birthday is coming up, right? So that's my second birthday. So you're a fellow Marine who raw December 5. I'll definitely drink a beer out to you guys. But I always start my day with a 3-mile run and dedication to my days in the Marine Corps. And other than that, guys, if you're a Marine, man, let me know. We'll definitely kick it off and drink a beer, man. So, all right. So let me see. Any tips on student loans? So student loans, when it comes to that, so student loans is kind of like a crazy thing, right? Because even though the student loan is just one loan, for some reason, it reports multiple times on your credit report. And that sometimes could be confusing, but could be detrimental, right? Because if you miss one late payment, it kind of like auto-populates to the rest. But the student loan programs, there's a lot of them. See, student loans never go away. You could never run away from that. But something you guys got to pay attention to is that because we know you can't run away from that, the government has all these programs that you're able to take advantage of. You just have to qualify for them. And it's just a matter of giving them a call. And I know I have some people in my program that pay as little as $5 a month. And when you pay as little as $5 a month, sometimes they'll go back to every late payment you've ever missed, and they'll reverse that like if you never missed a payment. Now, you see what that can do if that reports multiple times on your credit report. When something gets reversed from a late payment to an on-time payment multiple times on your credit report, that can be fantastic for your credit. And in that sense, it can go up. So sometimes we just need to switch over the mindset, right, of how we look at things. And see if we can see things from a different perspective or a different point of view that will allow us to go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity and benefit of us, right? So something to keep in mind. Any special credit help for vets? Of course, call me in the link in the description below, the first link. Make sure to schedule your appointment, your evaluation. I'll go ahead and shoot you a text. And then if you get it scheduled out, one of my team members will reach out to you to do the evaluation. Ask for me because I'm always around when they're doing the evaluation. So ask for me, man. I'll say what's up and see what we can do for you guys. All right. Let me see. Oh, super duper paratrooper, U.S. Army, but I deployed with 2nd MARDIV. So you probably deployed with me. I was with 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines. 2-2 back in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So if you're a warlord out there, December 5. All right. Approximately how long does it take for a judgment wage garnishment to happen, and who does it? Original creditor or collection agency? It could be either or. Sometimes it does take a process, right? But at the end of the day, before things get into wage garnishment, that's something that you guys need to pay attention to. When you get a letter from a debt collector or a call from a debt collector, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Identify what it is. Identify what it is. Pull up a recent copy of your credit report. See if whoever called you, whoever sent you that letter is on your credit report. And in that sense, go ahead and trigger off an investigation or a dispute. Or call me and we'll do that for you. But other than that, things get into a wage garnishment status when you ignore something. And that's something you don't want to do, right? So you don't want to ignore any of those debts. You want to go ahead and attack it straight on. And at least that form of communication will put a pause or a hold on any, further actions that they could possibly do. Critical thinker, I served with Devil Dogs at Camp Lejeune. So did I. I was out there in Jacksonville, North Carolina. All right. Dana Smith, December 5. Pedro, what's up, man? Pedro from Miami Express Auto Lease, man. Take a look at him, best auto broker in the nation. If you're in the market for a lease or finance of a vehicle, that's the guy to speak to, and he'll deliver it to your home or car, and you'll sign the paperwork at the comfort of your home or your office. So hit him up. What about repos? Hayes Vision Start, repossessions. So a little bit about me. When I got out of the Marine Corps back in 2013, I had a hard time adjusting and finding a job, right? I had a hard time. I know some of you vets had that problem, right? Where it's hard to translate your military experience into the civilianized world. So I had a very hard time finding a job, and in that process, I got my car repossessed, a car that I bought in North Carolina. So if you're just getting stationed in North Carolina as a PFC, or you're new in the Marine Corps, do not stay away from those dealerships 5 mile radius from the base. But other than that, I got my car repossessed, and through that kind of initiated or triggered the process of me learning about this, and through the systematic disputing process. And what I learned, they couldn't verify my signature, and they couldn't identify the police report that's supposed to be made when your car is repossessed. So if they can't find those things, then that's not verified. And because of that, that car got that negative annotation got removed from my credit report. And I've been leasing cars ever since with Pedro from Miami Express Auto Lease by the chance. So every time they run my credit, you don't see no repossession on there. And that's actually helped out, right? But remember, it's not because I found like a backdoor operation or something like that. If something gets removed from your credit report, it's because it was deemed unverifiable, inaccurate, or incomplete, right? And that's not your fault. That's the bank's or the collection agencies or the creditor's fault, right? And so the only thing you could do is only take advantage of that situation and start fresh and make sure that never happens again, right? We want to stay on top of our bills. Here we go. Let me go back up here because I see the questions. Friday night, 6:30 p.m. You're here educating us. That's right. It's over here, nighttime over here, and we're still putting in work. That's all the evaluations we did today. So if I got to stay here earlier to educate you on credit, I'll make sure that happens. Guys, make sure to schedule with the link in the description below. All right. Robert Lawrence, if your old debts, does it fall off of your account? I mean, from the 90s. Well, if you got something there from the 90s, there's something wrong with that, and that needs to get disputed. It shouldn't be on there. Account should only remain on your credit report anywhere from 7 to 10 years, depending on what it is, right? Especially if they're negative ones. So if that's still on there, obviously, that's something you got to go ahead and take care of, right? And there's other factors that go into it, but under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that's something that you could definitely get situated. I'm very interested in setting an appointment with you. Please give me the information again on how to schedule. Sissy 0405. In the link in the description, the very first link right there is going to take you over to my website. You're going to put your information on there. That's going to give me notification, and I'm going to go ahead and text you with my number so that way you guys have it. And I'm going to text you a link to my calendar. Calendly, as a matter of fact, right? To my calendar, you're going to go ahead and see my availability. You're going to pick a date and time. And at that point, it'll be triggered. So the day I wake up and I see that availability, I know to call you. And that time slot is dedicated to you. And I'm there to answer all your questions and give you that evaluation. All right. Let me see. Going on next. Hold on, guys, because the questions are coming in. So I do appreciate it. So have some patience with me. Yes, that's considered dishonor to ignore, right? Yes, you don't want to ignore your collections if that's what you're referring to. Simon Gooden. So once you've paid off a debt and get a letter paid off in full or partial payment, how does this positivity affect your score? Even though that's considered a positivity, if that account had late payments from before, keep in mind that when you pay off an account in full, that remaining late payment that you would have gotten months ago or a year ago will still remain on your credit report. That part right there is a reflection of your payment history. And payment history is 35% of your credit score, right? 35% of your credit score is payment history. So if, for example, if you had a perfect score of an 850 and one account falls off into collections, or you get a late payment, that could potentially drop your score of up to 100 points, if not even more. So even though you've paid it off, which is great, but that negative annotation has to be reversed or removed, right? Because that right there will prevent your credit score from getting any higher. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, if you want more clarification on that, make sure to schedule with the link in the description below, the very first link to schedule your free credit evaluation. Bankruptcy, how long after discharge? Really depends whether it's Chapter 7 or 13, but it could take, again, anywhere between 7 to 10 years will remain on there. All right. Ava Lee, I did this with the hospital bill. They wanted $16,000, and I got it down to $748. I was so relieved. You're right. You do not want to ignore this bill. So Ava Lee, check this out. So 60, that's a good indication. So collection companies or debt buyers, they'll go ahead and buy debts like this for pennies on the dollar. So guarantee you that that collection company or debt buyer did not buy that $16,000 debt for $16,000. So they bought it for pennies on the dollar. They probably bought it for, I don't know. It depends, $100, $200, whatever that sale is. So even though they dropped it down to $748, they agreed to it because they still profit at that level. You see what I'm saying? And so, but the bad thing is that once you pay off that account, it'll get reported on your credit report as paid, but is a negative annotation on your credit. So in today's society, the banks that are lending you the money, running your scores to lend you money for a home, a car, boat, whatever it is, it's still the FICO scoring models that they're using are still identifying at collections, whether it's paid or not, as negative towards your score. So that's something to keep in mind, right? This is why we have to develop a process. It's not that we're trying to shy away from our debts, right? But before we pay any money, we want to make sure that everybody got their ducks in a row, right? I want to see documentation. I want to see paperwork. I want to see the contract with my name on my signature. I want to see a description of product or services that you claim that I rendered from you. And I need that in 30 days. And if in 30 days you can't provide that to me, then the law states you have to remove it. And when that account gets removed, not only did you save yourself a lot of money, but now your credit score goes up, right? Or really depending on the factors that remain on your credit. So something to keep in mind. All right, so let's keep it going. What do you think about freedom debt relief? Mike Cuba, what's up, man? Thank you for the comment. So that sounds, I actually haven't looked particularly too much into that company, but it sounds like they're a debt consolidation company. I used them before in the past, and I had to pay, I think it was around $320 a month. And so what they do is that you put that $300 a month and it kind of goes into like a little savings account. And based on the money that's in there, that's what they work with. They'll call your creditors, they'll negotiate for a lower amount, and then they keep the difference, right, as payment. Now what happens is I don't like that because I can easily pay myself those $320 and do the same things that they're doing, right? But then what happens is that you're paying off accounts that already have a negative annotation on it. So regardless, even though your debt might be wiped off eventually, that negative annotation is still going to have your credit score suffer. And from the moment that you pay $1 into those accounts, that'll re-age the account for another 7 years from the moment it got paid off. So it's something to think about, right? We have to strategize this. If our goal is to leverage our credit, to be able to get a loan, buy a house, buy a car, get a loan to open up your own business or invest it in some way, somehow, we have to take a step back and actually analyze the full picture and find out if I have a plan A and a plan B. If I do this, then I know this is going to happen. What does my life look like then? And vice versa, right? But again, we don't want to ignore our debts. We just want to go about it in a strategic way. But in order to go about it in a strategic way, we have to be knowledgeable as to how this credit game works, right? Let me see here. Michelle Shifflett just signed up. Michelle, thank you very much. I look forward to speaking to you soon. I think I saw the notification here coming up. NCO Tech, NBC Canada, if your creditor don't sue you in 2 years after your last payment, they can't sue you for payment. Have you ever heard of this before? Yes. I'm not familiar with the laws out there in Canada, but I think what you're referring to, that's what's called here, is called a statute of limitations. Every state is different and it varies by debt. I know, for example, in Florida, after an account has been from the last date of delinquency 5 years, after 5 years, they've given up the right to sue you for that debt. So you might as well wait off the 2 years where it falls off and you save some money, right? But then again, I think that's what you're referring to. Critical Thinker, I was approved for a 2019 Honda Civic in January of 2019. Perfect payments and my credit improved 70 points. When can and should I refinance? First off, you shouldn't refinance, especially a Honda Civic. Why? Because one, those cars really don't keep their value. I don't care what Honda says. And I think you should never finance a car. That's in my opinion. I think you should lease a car. I think the only cars you should buy, if you're able to, are these high-end exotic cars, because to some extent they don't lose their value, right? But I don't think you should I don't think you should refinance a car. If anything, just continue to pay it off, right? I think with a lease, I've been leasing vehicles for a while. What I like about leases, and again, depending on the manufacturer, is that one, you get to drive more of a car for lesser than the price, right? For the residual value, I think it's called, for the vehicle, right? So for example, I had a Ford F-150. That's a $55,000 truck, but I was only financing in my lease $25,000 of it. So I was driving more of a car for less the amount, and I also had included in there like a maintenance package. So anytime something happened to it, like an oil change, tire rotation, or anything else, it was already included in my monthly payments. If you had a car financed, you kind of have to go over your out of your pocket, especially when it's outside of warranty. And God forbid you get into an accident and it's totaled. Well, right there, your car just decreased in value even more. So then when you try to trade it in or sell it, you're upside down. When a lease, if you get in a car accident, yeah, your insurance will take care of it, but at the end of the lease, the dealership has to take it in as is. So that's something, something to consider, right? All right. Porque because I have a company offering me medical debt relief. I never requested them. Is that legal? Depends on where they got their information, or depends on where, if the hospital you got taken care of has some sort of deal where they give that information over. So that's something you got to look for, like in the contracts or whatnot. My list, how can I get student loans off? We remove student loans all day. So, but in order for me to find out whether we can remove it, you got to schedule with the link in the description. But we remove student loans all day. Anything on your credit report can be removed because it's subject to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So if you guys don't know, the Fair Credit Reporting Act was put in place and designed to promote the fairness and accuracy of the information that appears on there. And it states that if something's unverifiable, inaccurate, or incomplete, it must be corrected or removed. So because of this, us as consumers, we're able to challenge and or dispute any of the information that appears on your credit report, whether you think is yours or not. You're able to go ahead and dispute the information without penalty to you. That is your right, because at the end of the day, the credit bureaus, collection agencies, and these creditors or furnishers have the burden of proof, right? It is your right. As a matter of fact, 1 out of every 5 Americans in the U.S. have an error on their credit report significant enough to cause them to be denied when they should have been approved, or pay a higher interest rate when you could have been paying lower. Think about that. You are probably paying a higher interest rate than what you're supposed to be paying when it comes to that. And guys, given the fact that it's Veterans Day coming up soon, there's something called the Service Members Relief Act. And a lot of people don't know, and banks want to act like they don't know. But based on the Service Members Relief Act, while you're in service, any loans that you get, like a credit card, a home, or car, cannot be they can't charge you more than 6% interest rate. So even if you're a veteran, let's say you EAS'd already, let's say you got out the service already, and one of the credit cards you're carrying around from Penn Fed, Navy Federal, or maybe a regular bank, if you got approved for that car while you was in service and it's over 24 and it's over 6% interest rate, then the bank owes you money, and you're entitled to a lot of money. So look into that. Service Members Relief Act. I have a utility bill that's on my report in collections. Do you think I should pay it off? Will it report positive after I pay it off? It won't report positive once you pay it off. So you could pay it off, but remember, once in the collection, now you're dealing with a third party. So who did you contract with? Your electricity provider, or this collection agency that's hitting you up? That's key right there. And listen, this is not like some sort of backdoor operations. Attorneys do this when they go ahead and defend clients against collection agencies. They have to verify who owns the debt. And the collection agency has to prove that they own the debt before they go after you. Because if they can't prove that they own the debt physically, like with a title or bill, then case is done. That's not the person you're supposed to deal with anyways. So if they do that there, think about how that applies to you. But again, if you want more information on that, and then you want to go ahead and see whether we can go ahead and remove that for you, make sure to click on the link in the description below so we can go ahead and take care of you as soon as possible, all right? NCO Tech, my banker. Hey Ray, when do we get to meet Giovanna and the rest of the team? Very soon, very soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the rest of the team. Everybody's extremely excited, especially out here with the studios and whatnot. And so I want to go ahead and present it the right way. Once everything is over here finalized, I'm gonna do a nice little video introduction, show you guys the office, give you guys a tour, and everything else, and we'll be able to help you out. All right. EC 999. Should you dispute derogatory closed accounts? Of course. If they're derogatory, they're affecting. Listen, there's only so much that appears on a credit report, right? We can't just go off of the superficial that's on there. That's why us as consumers, we have the right to dispute the information. Because even though everything looks nice and pretty on a credit report, we have to sometimes go ahead and ask for documentation from the creditor or furnisher, right? Prove to me, verify this account. Let me see the documentation you have on this account. Because maybe somewhere in there, they might misspell your name. They might have a wrong address. But the only way to really confirm or verify is by initiating a dispute, right? You have the right. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to make sure that my information is correct. Because at the end of the day, if it's affecting your score, you want to go ahead and confirm with it before you take ownership of that. All right. Let me go here. Critical thinker. I've paid off a self-lender loan and 2 separate credit union secured loans, and they show up as paid on my credit. However, people act as if the phrase paid on your credit report is a bad thing. It's not. It is not a bad thing, paid or current. But the only reason why it doesn't make a difference when it says paid or current is on a collection account, right? We already know that that could be negative, right? A negative impact on there. All right. See. How about evictions? Evictions, if they come out on your credit report, anything that goes on your list. Listen, guys, we've removed bankruptcies, child support, inquiries, student loans, tax liens, judgments. Well, they shouldn't come out anymore. Names, charge-offs, late payments, you name it, whatever you could think of. If it appears on a credit report, my team has already removed it, right? So something to keep in mind. Mohammed, do you help with debt settlements? No, we're not a debt settlement company. Again, the question is, why are you considering debt settlement, right? And what is your plan, right? At the end of the day, what are your plans? What are your goals? Why are you considering debt settlement? What is your end goal? What are we trying to get to? You trying to buy a home? Trying to get a loan? You trying to get a car? Maybe debt settlement is not the answer. Why settle with a debt? Why try to make a debt settlement when the collections that's probably reporting on your credit report may not have verifiable, accurate information on you, right? Just to avoid bankruptcy, he says. Well, why are we considering bankruptcies? How old are your accounts? When was the last date of delinquency? Are your accounts past the statute of limitations? If they are past the statute of limitations, then that collection agency can't sue you anyways. So why are we doing that? Because when you add bankruptcy on your credit report, yes, that takes away the debt. But before you buy your home, you have to wait a year or two before you even qualify for that, right? Bankruptcy is probably just as bad because it makes you wait, right? So why not go through a credit restoration process, whether you go with a company or you do it yourself? If an account got removed, now you're one step closer to that because that's not going to appear on your credit, right? These are all the things, guys, that we answer for you on your credit evaluation. We ask you all these questions because we want to make sure that our processes are in line with what your goals are, right? With what we're trying to do for you. At the end of the day, we try to solve your problems. We're trying to get you one step closer in the quickest way possible to whatever your financial goals are, right? And so if anything, try credit restoration, whether it's with me or another company or you do it yourself. Because if an account gets removed within 30 days, now you can take advantage of that opportunity to go ahead and get one step closer to that. But again, this is why we have to be knowledgeable and do our homework before we go ahead and step forward, right? All accounts are current, but get charged lots of interest. Can't afford paying them off. So you have a lot of interest, right? Maybe negotiate with the bank and say and do like a hardship claim where they lower your interest. But Mohammed, check this out. Maybe the question is, again, you're going to do a bankruptcies. Everything is paid off, but they're doing a lot of interest. It looks like you have positive annotations on your credit report. Now you want to kill it for what? right? Maybe the question is not I can't afford it, but how can I afford it, right? How can I leverage the credit that I currently have? And instead of looking at it as negatively impacting your score or your financial situation, how can you leverage that credit to flip it? Investing, buying good in a business, using it to your advantage. See, debt is bad if you spend it on things that don't make you money. So one of the things that I'm getting used to now, right, is if I go shopping, and especially now when it comes to, establishing and rebuilding the business or whatnot, I actually go, when I go shopping, I ask, how much money is that going to make me? Do I really need it now or not? And if it's not, then I leave it right there. And so, these are things that sometimes we have to get adjusted to, right? Here we go. How fast can you and your company offer results? Some local credit repair agencies here in Tallahassee try to stretch it out for months. Critical thinker, thank you for that question. So every time we send a dispute to the credit bureaus, by law, we have to wait 30 business days till we get a response back, right? The results, whether something got verified, updated, deleted, whatever the case may be. So what I tell my clients is I give them a worst case scenario because I just like to be straight up with people. And I don't want people to think that credit restoration is this thing that you flip on a switch or that we have a bat line over to the credit bureaus, right? And we're asking for favors, because it's not like that, right? We have to do it just like everybody else. It is a process. It requires a lot of investigative work, right? A lot of digging, a lot of knowledge or researching. Then filing a dispute, creating the letters, filing the dispute, and waiting those 30 days. Then analyzing those results and see how we can adjust and call for fire there. So when it comes to that, every 30 days, you will get some sort of results, whether it's a verified, disputed. And so in our company, the moment that we print your letters, you're going to get an email saying your letters are printed and these are the accounts that's going to be included. Everything that we send off is by certified mail read receipt. That means that when we send the letters, we'll have a tracking number that you can go ahead and verify whether something got sent and received at its destination. And so, at least with us, we include all items all at once on a month-to-month basis for you. So every 30 days, we're including all items. Some credit restoration companies, out of 10 items, they're only disputing 3 or 4 or 5. That's what keeps you in the program longer, right? But we want to go ahead and get you in and out as fast as possible. You see, unlike other companies, we don't want your business back. We don't want you back as a client. Because if you come back as a client, then we didn't do our job educating you properly, right? And so that's actually a bad thing. So our job is to go ahead and get you in and out as fast as possible and educate you so that when you're on your own out there, you know how to adjust and make it happen, right? So guys, 30 minutes are up, and thank you guys for the love and support and all the questions that you have. I would love to go ahead and answer some more of your questions. I actually got I actually got like 3 more evaluations that I've here coming up, so I got to go ahead and take care of them. But guys, if you guys want to ask me questions, if you guys want my number, if you guys want me to do the evaluation for you, answer all your questions and take home this pretty analysis that kind of details all of the negative factors impacting your credit, make sure to click on the link in the description below, the very first link. And oh, come here. I know. So guys, I got a little guy that wants to say hi to you. This is my son, Josiah. Say hi.
Hi, yo.
All right, go. All right, so he just want to say hi. So guys, first things first, make sure to click on the link in the description below. I'm going to go ahead and take care of these guys, but I'll be more than happy. Please click on the link. I want to speak to every single one of you guys. I love what I do. I love helping people out, especially when I get you guys great results. So click on the link in the description below. I look forward to speaking to you all. Once again, thank you for the love and support. Like, comment, subscribe, share with family and friends. And on to the next episode on Keeping It Real with Credit. Peace.